If you're a listener of the pod, you know that Heather and I are booked and busy. We're always looking for ways to make our life easier and to boost our energy and focus, which is why we've got a company for you to check out called Strong Coffee Company. Their instant coffee and latte options not only provide a quick route to your delicious morning coffee, their blends are also infused with 15 grams of grass-fed protein, 5 grams of MCTs, 250 milligrams of adaptogens such as ashwagandha and theanine. If you're like, what the heck does all that mean? It means you'll be getting much better sleep, more mental clarity, and no jitters or crashes. Better sleep means more productivity and more energy to do things you love, like read and listen to this podcast. So if you're committed to being your best, healthiest self without giving up your daily cup of coffee, check out Strong Coffee Company. We've got an exclusive discount for you only for listeners of our show. Head to strongcoffeecompany.com and use promo code CAFPOD to get 20% off any product. This is the highest discount Strong Coffee offers, so make sure to use this code ASAP and let us know what you think. Again, that's strongcoffeecompany.com and use promo code CAFPOD.
Here at Fully Booked and Caffeinated, Kelsey and I love a good strong coffee. But sometimes you just need a coffee to take the edge off and not keep you up all night, or maybe you're cutting back on your caffeine intake without sacrificing the flavor. Well, that's where Savorista Coffee comes in. Savorista Coffee offers premium craft decaf and half-calf blends that are small batch roasted for exceptional taste, with ethically sourced beans, natural decaffeination, and bold flavors, such as the Colombian Inspiration Decaf with chocolate, caramel, citrus, and fruit notes, or the Barely Buzzed Half Calf with dark chocolate, toasted marshmallows, and walnuts, which is directly going into my shopping cart. Our listeners can enjoy an exclusive discount of 25% off any product with our promo code CAFPOD. So head on over to savorista.com and be sure to put in that promo code during checkout. Again, that's Savorista, SAVORISTA.com, promo code CAFPOD, to try out what customers rave to be the best decaf coffee they've ever tried.
You know, here at Fully Booked and Caffeinated, we love coffee, but there are so many options to choose from in the coffee game. So how can you narrow it down? Well, allow us to help. Afuera Coffee is a company that sources their specialty beans from Central and South America, and the environment is quite literally in every bean. The volcanic soil infuses each coffee bean with vibrant and unique flavors. They have a flavor for everyone based on your personal tastes. Bold espresso for me, smooth light roast for Heather. And that's not all. The best part about Afuera Coffee is the ethical sourcing and sustainable farming practices they use to give you the best coffee while still protecting Mother Earth. And there's more. 5% of all sales are donated back to charities that provide conservation efforts to the great outdoors. If you don't believe me, go to their website, afueracoffee.com, and click on the 5% pledge tab. They have some great info on how much their pledge to charity has already impacted the environment. So check out Afuera Coffee if you're looking for great tasting, vibrant coffee, and you can rest assured knowing that you're contributing not only to your own happiness, but to the environment that we so desperately need to protect. This is an exclusive discount for listeners of our show. Use our promo code to get 15% off any product at afueracoffee.com. That's AFUERA coffee.com. Use promo code CAFPOD, CAFFPOD. Again, that's afueracoffee.com, promo code CAFPOD for 15% off sustainable and ethically sourced coffee. Welcome to your favorite bookish podcast, Fully Booked and Caffeinated. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Heather.
And today we have a very special bonus episode. We are joined by Erin Miller Reid, author of But for Fortune, which releases September 15th. Erin, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm really good.
Good. Okay, we're so excited to discuss your new book. But before we get into that, we have a couple important book questions.
Okay.
What are your favorite genres to read?
Literary fiction. Basically, that's all that I read almost.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Okay.
And that's what I wrote.
Yeah, exactly. And what are a few of your favorite books?
That's a hard question. It's hard to have a single favorite book. I can tell you some of the most impactful books for me. Um, I would say, first off, Life of Pi.
Okay.
That really changed my worldview and how I view the importance of story. Um, I loved All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I just think his writing is magical. Every word choice is so perfect. And I became a huge Elizabeth Strout fan when I read all of Kitteridge. So those are probably my three top books.
All pretty good classics, too. I like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Now,
have a
since this is
comfort
your,
book. Oh, I'm
what was your
sorry. I didn't
comfort
mean to
book? No,
interrupt
you're
you.
fine.
My
No,
co-
I love a
my
comfort book
comfort
answer.
book is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. Are you
I
familiar
don't
with
think
that?
I've heard of that
No.
one.
Dodie Smith wrote 101 Dalmatians for kids, but she has another book about a family, an American family that moves to a dilapidated British castle, and it's excellent. Oh, and I forgot another favorite book. I'm sorry. I have to keep going. Uh, Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca is one of my all-time
Mm.
favorites. I can't leave that one out.
Listen, we're never going to stop you from listing
Yeah,
books.
you could go on for an hour just
I
talking
know we could
about
just
books,
do
and we'll
this for the
be
whole time.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So, since this is your debut novel, what made you decide to become an author?
Um, well, I was lucky to be born into a family that loves books. Every room of our home had books. My mom and dad were both readers. They raised my brother and me to be readers as well. And it was a dream from a young age to be a writer. I loved, in school growing up when we wrote essays or short stories or poems as part of our English classes. And then I went to college and did pre med instead. Even while I was there, though, I took some creative writing classes. So it was always in the back of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And after I went through medical school, residency, had 3 kids. I finally was in my late 30s and I thought, if you want to write a book, it's now, just do it. Now's the time. And I became involved in the Appalachian writing community, which is a really vibrant, strong community of writers. And they've just been incredibly inspirational, and I've learned so much from so many of them for the past 8 years. And they've really been influential in helping me become a writer.
I love that. We talk about that a lot. So many authors that we cover that have these like other day jobs or careers that they've been doing for so long, and then they
Mm-hmm.
make the switch. And it's like it was always in the back of their mind that whole time.
Yes, it's a little kind of a pesky little voice.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. Okay, so time for us to dive in because I have a lot of thoughts and questions about how you portray mental health. So, we discuss mental health a lot on this podcast. We're both big fans of destigmatizing the need for mental health
Mhm.
services, and we're both medicated. So, um, what do you hope that readers take away from the way mental health is portrayed in your book?
Well, I want to start by saying that there's no single way to experience mental illness. Just like all of us are completely individual people, everyone's experience is going to be very unique and individual. And I want people, to go in with that mindset that this is just how I portrayed to people with their own mental health issues. Um, I want people to see, especially in the character Corinth, that even on the outside, when it seems like everything's going right for someone, you never know what's going on in the inside. And one thing I am especially, well, one thing that I especially admire in people that suffer with mental health disease is that every day that they get up, face the day, go to their jobs or go to school, they are overcoming something big, and it's a really brave act. And I hope people will see that in Corinth's character. One thing I also, in portraying the granny character, um, my own grandmother, the story is very loosely based on my own history of being a medical student and working in the psychiatric hospital where my grandmother had been a patient. And I always have, ever since that experience, I thought, I'm here as a medical student. She was here as a patient. Um, it was never completely clear to me what illness she suffered from, but I wanted to portray in the book that so much of our fate and fortune relies on our support system, where we land in time, our time of birth,
Mhm.
our place of birth. Um, all those factors kind of determine how successful you can be as any person with a disease, and our access to care and our access to support. And Granny, growing up in the 1950s, my question was always, how bad was her mental illness? Because, in the past, people got put in people were institutionalized for a number of reasons that we don't even deem as a reason to be hospitalized anymore,
Mhm.
or even don't even deem it as mental illness. So I kind of wanted to examine that in the novel.
I think that's a really great point. First of all, I love what you said about it being brave to like every day kind of overcome mental illness. I love that. But also the fact of because of the time period that Corinth was, born into, it was easier for her, even though she had her own internal struggles about taking the medication, it was easier for her to go and get medication and understand how it was going to affect her, how it's going to help her. And so then it was just kind of that internal battle instead of everyone around her. So I definitely really like that. Um, so in the book, Corinth needs to kind of break out of her mindset of what a good doctor is. So like studying and test grades and stuff. And she's exposed to the human side first when dealing with real patients and then when going to the mental hospital. How do you think this contributes to the success for her career as a doctor?
I think if you asked most doctors and nurses, anyone in the healthcare professions, why they went into that field, most of us are going to say it's because we want to take care of people. That's the root of our motivation. If it wasn't, I can think of a million other ways to earn a living. It's not an easy job. There's a lot of stress when you're tasked with taking care of someone's health.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the fact that Corinth has a very innate desire to take care of people, and she's a very humane medical student, very ethical, and despite the one issue with the one event that happens, she's a very ethical, humane student, and I think that's the crux of being a doctor. You can learn and learn and study, but if you can't meet people where they are,
Mm.
um, I think people need that human connection with their healthcare providers.
Yeah, definitely. And we're with her on that journey as she discovers that kind of, which is cool. I'm in nursing school, so I'm also in that same boat, but right now I'm still in the studying and good grades phase. So,
So I found
um,
that part honestly easier than the actual medicine part, just because concrete you had such concrete expectations. Learn this, take this test, take this class. It was like jumping through hoops. But when you get to
mhm,
the patient aspect, everything becomes very murky and intuitive. And it was
Mhm.
a much bigger adjustment for me as a medical student.
Yeah, that's what I totally get that part because it's like school, I got to study, I take my tests, it's fine. But every situation that you're studying is a particular situation. Like, you know how it's supposed to be start and end. But when you're dealing with real people, not every situation is going to work out the way it's
No,
supposed to.
Mhm.
So
no.
it's going to be the tough part, but I'm looking forward to it.
But it's the rewarding part too. It's the
Exactly.
part that you went to nursing school for.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't go just to study because I could do that without paying.
You could.
I know. That's why I like that you bring up the fact that in the medical field, human connection is a big deal. Because I feel,
Yes.
especially as women, when you try to go see a doctor, it's sometimes they don't believe you or they think that you're being over exaggerating and everything. And finding a doctor that actually shows true compassion and is, you know, well educated is sometimes it's rare, it feels like.
Yeah, I think that our medical system is not set up for human connection all the time.
Mhm.
We don't have enough people doing the jobs that we need. Um, you've got a lot of input from insurance companies and pharmaceutical
Mhm.
companies, hospital systems that aren't always in the best interest of doctors and patients and nurses. And that's a big hindrance. I did recently a certificate in narrative medicine. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. Narrative medicine is a field that was developed in the early 2000s as a way to use the study of humanities like literature and music
Oh.
and art um, to better communicate with patients. So the founder of the field, the woman that basically developed the field, is named Rita Sharon, and she's still an internal medicine doctor at Columbia University in New York City. And she has her PhD in English, and she noticed that when she studied literature very closely, these were the same skills that she could apply to listening to patients' stories very closely. And I think narrative medicine and a wider practice of that would be super influential in improving our patient doctor interactions.
That's so interesting
Yeah.
about the connection part because,
Mhm.
to what Heather brought up of sometimes it's hard to even get someone to listen to you. And then are they actually hearing you?
Hmm.
We just rewatched Girl Interrupted and we were chatting about it on the podcast, and it was very upsetting about how the women were treated and not believed and etc.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time. I probably should rewatch it.
You should.
Um,
It's
it's
different
a
on the rewatch. So I actually have a question about there was a lot of mention of religion throughout the whole plot. Do you or did you have a religious background?
I was raised up in a very religious family. It was the kind of family where you are there on Sunday morning, Wednesday evening, all the different vacation Bible schools, revivals. We were very active in our church, which can have its good and bad moments, as we're growing up to reconcile some our beliefs as they change as we reach adulthood. For the most part, it was a very loving environment. Um, some of the people in that church were like family to us. But I'd like to bring up, because I have had people mention the religious aspect to me, where I grew up in southeastern Kentucky in the Appalachian region. I would venture to say, for most people, religion is central to our lives and most people's worldview to some extent. Um, so I think if you read Appalachian literature, there's a lot of religion in it, just because it's so deeply rooted in the culture here.
That does track with how the religion is in here, that it is a very, because even when Corinth is kind of talking about it in a like an eye roll type way, it's still very loving.
Yes.
And so I was, because I also grew up in a religious household too, and I was kind of like, oh, this all sounds very familiar to me too. But you bring up a good point that it's not as central where I grew up to everyone's upbringing as it was to the people in this book, especially, and to people in the region. Um, I do want to talk about the feminist aspect of the book too, because we don't get through a single episode without talking about feminism. So, but I think it's really important that a lot of women can see themselves in different characters. So, Heather and I talked about how I relate to Corinth a lot with the imposter syndrome and the religion and the medical stuff and all of that. And she relates to Granny with her postpartum and, motherhood and a lot of that stuff. So I do like that there's different aspects of like womanhood in different stages, What are some stereotypes about women specifically that you wanted to focus on or challenge?
Okay. Well, as for Granny, going back to her journey, you mentioned postpartum. In the book, um, I feel I was coming from a place of, I believe that a lot of her mental illness came from the postpartum period, the hormonal changes, the lack of sleep. Um, and that going back to our earlier conversation is, how would that be treated differently today versus how might it have been treated in the 1950s? As far as far as challenging female stereotypes, with Granny, I also was trying to challenge, well, with both women, I was not only trying to challenge female stereotypes, but also Appalachian stereotypes. Um, I think we don't think of early mountain women or maybe mountain women in general as being intelligent, well read. That's something that doesn't get spread to the wider world. But living here, growing up here, I know people, that are incredibly smart. In my medical school class, the kids from Eastern Kentucky were just as smart as everyone else, but that Appalachian stereotype of unintelligent people persists. And I wanted to challenge that, having Mary Esther be very, very smart, which is a similar characteristic to my actual grandmother. I tried to change the character a lot because I didn't want to, I don't, first off, don't know a lot about my grandmother. By the time I was raised and knew her, she wasn't able to tell much about her past, but I did know that she had been salutatorian of her class, her high school class. So I knew she was smart, and my aunt and my uncle and my dad were all really smart. So I knew it had to come from somewhere. um, and she liked classical music, and piano playing, which I think people don't relate with an poor Appalachian woman, but it's not impossible. I know plenty of Appalachians that like classical music. And the same was true for Corinth. Um, you know, she's smart. I think that maybe the imposter syndrome feeds into what we think about women. I think a lot of women suffer from imposter syndrome, but I could not recognize that. Um, I wanted to challenge the stereotype, though, of, there are Appalachians that go to medical school. We have doctors. We like a wide range of things, not just bluegrass music and, that's square dancing. I'm imagining what the world imagines about people in Appalachia. There's been lots of books that are very necessary about our opioid crisis here, but that's not the only story of our region, and I wanted
Yeah,
to make sure I told a different one.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. It's even though these women have such struggles, you still highlighted what they're so good at. Like they were so smart. They were so, no one expected Mary Esther to be so freaking good at math. And, it was nothing for her. She's like, oh, I just know these things. So I think that's really cool. Um, Last question from me, and then Heather will take over with some of the things that spoke to her in the book. But what do you hope that readers, and you touched on this a little bit, but is there a specific message that you hope readers, particularly women, will take away from this book and from the way that you have written these women?
Um, I would like readers to leave the book with the feeling that mental health, like you said earlier, should be less stigmatized, that there's so many people that suffer, and suffer in different ways. And if we're more open about it, it will only benefit all of us, to know that
Mhm.
we're not alone. Um, there's a lot of family secrecy in the book, and I'm a person that one of the things I value above all else is openness and honesty. I think that's the only point in situations that need healing or need reconciliation. That has to be the starting point. I think that's a major theme of the book. Um, and I would say those are the two of the main things I would like readers to take away. And just to be grateful if you have not struggled, if you struggled but had someone to catch you,
Mhm.
those those things also determine our outcomes. And the fact that, like I said earlier, the time we're born in, the place we're born in, the family we're born into makes such a difference in the life that we lead now, and we shouldn't take that for granted.
Completely
Yeah,
agree.
it's so important. I mean, we wouldn't be able to have this podcast talking about these things even 10 years ago.
True.
No.
True.
So, all right, Heather, over to you.
To one more question about or discussion about the Appalachians. When you discovered the mental health statistics, what about that inspired you to write about it and bring attention to that issue?
I don't think my primary goal was to write about mental health. My first I've been thinking about this story since I was in residency, which now is almost 20 years ago. Um, after I had the experience of working at Eastern State Hospital where my grandmother had been a patient, that was just this pivotal idea in my mind. The it's just, such two different experiences juxtaposed, decades apart. Well,
Mhm.
I guess you can't say they were juxtaposed if they were decades apart, but these two different experiences, decades apart within the same family, was just this truly powerful idea to me. So I think I started from that point. That's what started my story. But of course, you can't write about that without addressing mental health.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the springboard. And of course, I think mental health is incredibly important and the discussion of it is vital. So it all fell together naturally.
Now, to switch over to my favorite topic, which is motherhood.
Yes.
So, I have a 3-year-old. She just turned 3 last weekend, and we are in the three-nager stage, and that has been a fun time. Um, how do you find the balance of writing about such important topics while also being a mother? So, like, I was a full-time working mom myself when my daughter was born, and I found it difficult at times to
Mhm.
handle both aspects of that.
I could not start working. I couldn't handle both the writing and the practice of medicine until my youngest child was 2 or 3 years old. It didn't even register. It wasn't even on the table until
Mhm.
then. I had to wait till they were a little bit older, until their sleep patterns were more predictable, um, until the oldest one was more self-sufficient. But I have 3 kids. They're all within 4 years of each other, so we had them very closely spaced. So life was pretty hairy for a while, and it still is.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
it's very hard to balance everything, working, being a mom, being a wife, also being a friend, a daughter,
Mhm.
all the roles that we have to play in life. It just Writing this book became such a priority, and writing became such a priority. I found so much empowerment in the creative process. We talked about imposter syndrome earlier, and also religious upbringing. And I've thought a lot about this over the past few years about how a super religious upbringing that's very kind of tells you exactly what you should do and how you should do it
Mhm.
makes it naturally, I think, inclines us to have imposter syndrome and to not have the self-confidence we need because we're always questioning, well, is my idea the right one? Is
Mhm.
this what I should do? I've always been a person that questions myself, and I think that's probably partly a personality issue, but I think other things feed into that. Being a female, being um, having this religious upbringing that, you don't want to break any rules or do anything wrong. So when I discovered writing and really invested myself in it and started expressing myself creatively, I'm making the choices. And when I realized I didn't have to run that by anybody, or it was just such an empowering moment, or ask somebody, what do you think? I mean, you still, as a writer, ask other people for their input,
Mhm.
but ultimately it's your choice. And so once I discovered the feeling of that, I was like, I will make time for this because this is
Mhm.
an important part of me being a human being.
Yeah, and I think especially being a mom, you're so much more than just that. And you deserve to do things that bring you joy and give you purpose aside from your children.
Yeah,
So, you know,
exactly.
the the
I,
fact
tr-
that you took the time to write the book is amazing in itself.
I try to remind myself because, we all have mom guilt. I'm
Mhm.
getting ready to do a book tour where I'll be traveling several weekends and missing soccer games and dance
Mhm.
practices, and there's a lot of guilt weighing on me, but I try to remember and tell myself, well, what would I want for my kids when they're grown
Mhm.
up? Would I want them to have the chance to do this? Yes, I would, and I want them to see how a person pursues their dreams. And um, I feel like writing is also a form for me of self-improvement, so I want them to witness that as well. It's always a delicate balance, right?
It is. It most definitely is. And then I know you brought up before how some of Granny's storyline had to do with like postpartum depression. What are your views on how society handles or addresses that now in like our current time between postpartum depression and anxiety?
Um, I remember taking the quiz that you would take when you went to your baby's
Mhm.
pediatrician appointment, but I knew what they were asking for. And did I mean, I knew how they wanted me to answer it, so I just answered it that way. Even though
Mhm.
I think in the throes of lack of sleep and we're not eating right, you're trying to breastfeed for some people don't, but up all night, your hormones are fluctuating. I think it's natural for anybody to have their mental health is not going to be at its prime. And
Mhm.
you've been, especially with the first baby, given this new baby, and with any subsequent baby, your whole family dynamic has changed. And
Mhm.
you're trying to adjust to that. So it's natural we would have some sort of mental health issue.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, with motherhood, how has that influenced your storytelling? Do you think that you feel and think differently now as a mother than you would have had you written the story before being a mom?
Well, two things on this. As I've gone back, I had to do, I finished the novel in 2022, sent it out to an agent. That took several months, then found an editor, had to do more edits on it. So 4 years later, it's coming out. But over these years, as I've reread and edited it, I thought, I don't know that I could have written such details about pregnancy. Now that I'm distanced from it, it's like it's
Right.
almost I've erased some of those memories. So I was like, I'm glad I wrote it when I did, because those things were still pretty fresh in my mind. Also, I think any new relationship, any new life experience you can have as a creative person, that just feeds into your artwork. So the experience of being a mom has made me view the world different. So of course that's going to be reflected in what I write.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because that is always a topic on our podcast about how ever since I became a mom, I view things through such a different lens. And it's like my whole brain was rewired, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's different with everyone's different experience. I'm not a mom, but I love that me and Heather have those two different viewpoints of all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like for the listeners to know about you and or your book?
Well, I'm just excited to share it with people, and I hope it will be impactful to readers. And I hope I have the chance to keep writing and keep putting things in the world. And I'm thankful for anyone that takes the time to read my words. I thank both of you for doing that. It means a lot when you've spent an uncountable amount of hours on something. It means a lot that other people will take the time to read it and hopefully enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's really admirable and brave of you to put yourself out like that. I think, Heather and I talk about it all the time. Like, we come over here and review books and we can like them or not like them, but we never discount the effort, the bravery, and all of that. We both loved your book, and we're not just saying that because we're too honest on this podcast. So
Yeah, no, truly. Trust me, there's some books. There's some books that were like, listen, it might sound like we disliked it, but we did like it.
This one we actually liked.
Well, thank you.
Thank you again for coming on the podcast. Before you go, tell our listeners where they can find you on social media and where they can purchase your book.
I have mainly just an Instagram account. It's at Erin Miller Reid Writes, so my name with WRITES on the end. And my book can be found at all of the major sites. It's available at the University Press of Kentucky website, but also on bookshop.org, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon.
Cool. We love that. Thank you so much.
And your local indie bookstore. It'd be awesome if people requested it there.
Yes.
And request it from your local library also.
Yes, exactly.
So then they'll purchase a copy.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you like what you heard, please make sure to follow, subscribe, and rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to us on. If you have any book recommendations or questions for us, you can email us at fullybookedcalfpod@gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at fullybookedcalfpod to see our upcoming reads. You can also now watch all of our episodes on YouTube at fullybookedcalfpod. Thanks for checking us out, and remember,
if you need us, we're fully booked.
bye.
If you've been a long-time listener of the pod, you know Kelsey and I are all about pop culture and the entertainment industry. And if you happen to be looking for a one-place stop to shop for officially licensed merchandise, we've got the place for you. Old Glory is the ultimate destination to shop, offering over 300,000 items for music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture fans. This family-owned superstore has provided high-quality clothing and accessories since 1969, featuring the world's most iconic bands, sports teams, fan-favorite apparel, and quirky gifts. which means there's truly something for everyone. With free standard shipping and same-day order processing, Old Glory delivers fast and reliable service with every purchase. So whether you are shopping for yourself or looking for that perfect gift, Old Glory is your one-stop shop for iconic, high-quality merch, and our lucky listeners will receive an exclusive 15% off any product with the promo code CAFPOD. So head on over to oldglory.com to begin shopping their wide range of high-quality merchandise and get that exclusive discount. Again, that's Old Glory, OLDGLORY.com, promo code CAFPOD.
Here on Fully Booked and Caffeinated, we're constantly on the go, but sometimes we just need to unwind and relax with a good book. Enter Good Feels THC-infused seltzers. Good Feels is committed to redefining the way you relax. Made with all-natural ingredients and offering flavors like dragon fruit raz, pineapple mango, and blood orange, these drinks are the cornerstone of great taste and tranquility. Not in the mood for bubbles? Good Feels also offers gummies and mood booster drops to add to your favorite beverage. Whether you're looking to unwind after a long day, enjoy a night in with friends, or just need a little something to take the edge off, Good Feels Cannabis Seltzers are perfect for any occasion. And we've got an exclusive promo code for listeners of the pod. Go to shop.getgoodfeels.com and use promo code CAFPOD for 20% off, 21 and over only. Again, that's shop.getgoodfeels.com, promo code CAFFPOD. Try it out and let us know your favorite time to unwind with a Good Feels Cannabis Seltzer.
You know when you have that midday crash and need something quick to perk you up? Well, enter Quantum Squares. Quantum Squares is an energy bar that is redefining the typical energy snacks by offering a scientifically formulated recipe with 100 milligrams of organic caffeine, which is the equivalent to an 8-ounce coffee, for long-lasting, stable energy. These bars deliver balanced nutrition by featuring 10 grams of plant protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates, with flavors such as peanut butter, dark chocolate, and dark chocolate pink Himalayan salt. And for all our food ingredient sensitive listeners, Quantum Squares are certified gluten-free, non-GMO, plant-based, kosher, vegan, dairy-free, and soy-free, with no artificial additives or sugar alcohols. If these energy bars sound like something for you, we have an exclusive 25% discount off any product for our listeners with the promo code CAFPOD. So head on over to quantumsquares.com to shop their delicious products and use our exclusive discount. Again, that's Quantum Squares, QUANTUMSQUARES.com, promo code CAFPOD.